بكل وقاحة وعنصرية طلع الكاتب اليميني الأمريكي سكوت جنينغز اللي كان مستشار في إدارة بوش الابن يحرض على الطالب الفلسطيني محمود خليل. بيقول يريد، أي قصده محمود، يريد القضاء على الحضارة الغربية، إنه أجنبي ولا يجب أن يكون هنا.
He's a resident alien. He can be deported under U.S. law for if the Secretary of State has any reasonable ground to believe he would have a potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequence. And you mentioned the student organization. The student organization put out... Let me finish.
But before you move on, because I think that's a really important point, right? That's the statute that they're using.
Yeah.
Have you seen any evidence to suggest that there is actually a serious reason to believe that this student is going to be a threat to national security?
I mean, I've certainly watched the abomination that's gone on at Columbia and Barnard and other places, and I will just tell you,
threat to national security.
And I'll just tell you that
I'm not going to let you move on because this is the
I'll tell you why it's a threat to national security if you let me answer you.
Well, Scott,
do you want me to answer you or not?
Okay.
His organization says we are dedicated fighting for the total eradication of Western civilization.
Okay.
He's not a citizen. He doesn't need to be here.
I don't want to. You just described him having viewpoints that you disagree with. Again, is that enough to have someone lose their rights in this country?
He has viewpoints that, in my opinion, jeopardize the security of the United States.
But how?
He is obviously a radical who is here to foment.
No, he's not a radical at all.
He's violence against the United States government.
He wants to destroy Western civilization.
Against the United States government.
You're saying eradicate Western civilization doesn't make you a radical?
Has he acted in any way that is violence against the United States government, as you just said?
I think these protests and the violence they have fomented and the intimidation and fear against the Jewish kids on these campuses is absolutely an act of insurrection against the United States.
I don't think the American speech, Scott, that's enough.
Look,
yes.
Look, what they have engaged in is a clear threat to the United States. And if you want the United States to be overrun by radicals the way Europe has, be my guest. But I think the president needs to stand up for the integrity of the United States.
What is the threat?
The threat of our country being, and our college campuses being overrun by radicals who are trying to run Jewish kids off of campuses and anybody else who disagree. Yes, they are. In UCLA.
No,
in UCLA.
First of all,
they wouldn't even let them go to class.
First of all,
Columbia is an abomination.
First of all, there were violent counter-protests at UCLA that were done by Jewish organizations.
No, both sides. Anti-Semitism is a scourge on this country. Do not.
It absolutely
is that it is not clear that this particular student has engaged in the specific actions that he was talking about. And you've shown me no evidence of that either.
Okay, well, guess what? He is not a citizen. If he were a citizen, I might feel differently. He's a guest in this country.
Okay.
It's my view,
in other words,
and it's the Trump administration.
But it doesn't matter.
No, I didn't walk in here with my gumshoe investigative case, Abby. But here's what I do think: this guy's running an organization at Columbia that has ruined 2 solid years of people's lives.
Deported based on allegations that you have not substituted.
I think he should be deported based on what the Trump administration has already identified. He is a threat to the national security.
But here's his affiliation.
The statute you quoted. It's an obscure statute, old statute that's being used, is about being against U.S. foreign policy, right? So, for example, when I was part of protests in Miami, when the Clinton administration and Janet Reno returned Elian Gonzalez to Cuba, is that...
Were you trying to eradicate Western civilization?
No, I was trying to stop the U.S. government, and I was protesting against what the U.S. government had done.
Were you occupying buildings?
I was protesting.
Were you fomenting violence?
I was doing what that...
Were you inciting others to engage in violence?
I was doing what that statute said.
Were you chasing
I was
people
against
around?
U.S. foreign policy.
Were you intimidating people?
Okay, we were shutting down streets.
My view is that we're in a fight for the future of Western civilization. This guy's on the wrong side of it, and he don't need to be here.
كلمات مليانة كذب وافتراء، بس الحقيقة إنه صوت محمود هو صوت كل حر يدافع عن الحق وبيفضح الظلم. هاي مش أول مرة بيستخدموا فيها خطاب الكراهية ضد الفلسطينيين وأي حدا بيوقف مع قضيتهم. هذا أسلوبهم دائما، بيشيطنوا الضحية وبيغطوا على جرائم الاحتلال اللي ما بتوقف لحظة. قال تعالى: ولا يحيق المكر السيء إلا بأهله. والمكر اللي بيحاولوا يحكوه ضد الحق وأهله بيرجع عليهم بإذن الله. بس اللي ما بيعرفوا إنه محمود وأمثاله مش لحالهم، كل صاحب ضمير حي واقف معهم. الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: من رأى منكم منكرا فليغيره بيده، فإن لم يستطع فبلسانه، فإن لم يستطع فبقلبه، وذلك أضعف الإيمان. وهالشباب الأحرار صوتهم صار أعلى من كل حملات التشويه. قديش حاولوا يسكتوا الصوت الفلسطيني بس ضلوا عالي، لأنه الحق دائما بينتصر ولو بعد حين. وهذا التحريض مش ضعف، هو دليل خوفهم من الحقيقة اللي عم تكشفها أصوات الأحرار في كل مكان. قال تعالى: وقل جاء الحق وزهق الباطل إن الباطل كان زهوقا.